Everyone broke out of the house in a commotion of voices, laughter, and stomping of feet. I dragged myself to join them and watched Josiel walk away until he disappeared behind the bushes. I asked where he was going, and Grandma Sarita motioned for me to be quiet. We had been waiting impatiently for some 10 minutes when we saw Josiel come back down the narrow path that led to the stable. At that very moment, I recognized Soberano, the velvety chestnut hair, the shiny and slightly darker mane, the full tail. No other horse I knew had that capacious belly and long neck, or moved with the elegance with which he walked toward us, pulled by the reins by Josiel. Grandma Sarita's beloved horse. Her only horse. My heart froze and stopped beating. Had I died? Thalie, half-suppressed giggles of surprise and joy, covered and uncovered her eyes with her hands as if she couldn't believe them. I sucked in air, but it wouldn't come. I thought I was going to crumble right there and then if that pantomime went on much longer. Was it possible no one was wondering why Grandma was giving her beloved horse to Thalie, a granddaughter she had never laid eyes on before? Was that love? How was it possible to love what one didn't know? Grandma hugged her new granddaughter and pushed her gently along the paved path that cut across the garden to the low wall where Josiel stood in front of Soberano, holding the reins. I wanted to run away, but my legs were stuck, and I was forced to watch my father's newest and most intriguing performance, that of doting parent. "Merde, Dad," I yelled inside, and my scream spurred the thing, and it darted from side to side, striking the lining of my stomach with its rough paws. The air felt scant, and my breakfast came back to my throat. I lowered my head and breathed slowly and deeply. As I gathered myself, my father was getting on and off Soberano in a patient demonstration of how to mount him properly. A good student, as soon as she straddled Soberano, Thalie raised and waved both arms in a triumphant gesture and yelled out an absurd "Je suis prête à voyager dans le monde," as if everyone there could understand her language. My father took the reins from Josiel and pulled the animal with a gentle click of the tongue. Soberano would not follow him. He lowered his head to the ground, flared his nostrils, and snorted nervously. He shifted sideways, like a dancer taking a step, then remained still, as if none of that had anything to do with him. Soberano was one of my kind. If he really was on my side, nothing would stop him from rearing up and throwing Thalie down to the ground, or from dashing away into the woods, shaking her off in the middle of nowhere, miles away, where she would bleed to death all alone. Or, in case she survived, she would find her way back on broken legs and ribs. At the very least, filthy with blood, her face scraped by branches and thorns, and once the wounds had healed, her baby skin forever marked by that horrifying morning. And finally, after such an excruciating experience, Thalie would never ride again and would be forced to return Soberano to Grandma Sarita. Soberano, however, eventually gave in to my father's strokes and sweet talk, straightened his neck, and lifted his paws off the ground. Thalie, like a princess from an enchanted kingdom, smiled and waved to the adoring entourage, who smiled and waved back. The three of them went along, Thalie on Soberano's saddled back, my father leading the way, guiding him by the reins until they disappeared around a bend in the path. The rest of us walked back to the porch. I know I spent the rest of that day with them, and another night, and the following night. I know I ate, showered, and sat with the others on the porch to wait for bedtime. But I don't remember what I saw, or what I heard, or how I behaved, if I smiled or cried, if I kept quiet or opened my mouth to say something stupid. I was there, and I wasn't. In the recesses of my body, The thing, its eyes hard with salt, waded in its stagnant waters and let out a piercing sound, a sort of bleating of sheep, a second before the slaughter.